Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Friday Business Intelligence tip. Now, this one I can hardly call a tip. It's more like a troubleshooting or a issue resolution that I happen to run into a few times in the past, and I ran into it again this week. You'd think that I've been doing this long enough that I would have saw through it, but it bit me with it, and so I'm hoping to save you a little bit of headache as I go through it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump on over here to SQL Server, and we'll get into what the problem is and how to get around it. So as I go over here to SQL Server, what I am seeing is in SQL Management Studio, I created a query that's just select star from a destination table. So just a basic table. The problem I'm getting into today is I have a query that I wrote to grab some data out of one source system and then insert whatever records don't already exist in that destination table. So here's my destination table where just two columns, and I've got that I call destination column 1 and destination column 2. You'll see there's two records in it. And then I have another table that I created that I called the source table. And you can think of this as grabbing that same data from another source system, and I want to say, give me any records out of here that don't exist already over in my destination. So if I execute this, there's 3 records in here, 1, 2, and 3. So you'll notice 1 and 2 are the same as what was in the destination, and number 3 doesn't exist. So what I want to do is I want to write a query that says, select all the records from the source table that don't exist to the destination. Now, I'm not actually doing the insert here in this deal I'm doing today, but I'm going to write the query like it was. So now typically what I would do is something like select all from the source table where it doesn't exist in select all from the destination table. And you'd think it would just give me number 3. But when I run that, I get all of them. And the reason for that is SQL Server does not do a compare of columns that are null to equal each other, and it treats them like they're not equal. So it thinks all 3 of these don't currently exist. So we have to play some games with the query in order to get around that. Now, there's a few different ways of doing it, and you'll find all kinds of things out on the internet. But the method I'm using, and I have to preface this by saying I have not done a lot of performance testing. So if some of you know of a better way that has better performance, or I'm going to see a penalty on this, by all means, let me know. But what I end up doing is just wrapping ISNULL around the columns and just saying, ISNULL the column. If it is, treat it like an empty thing and compare them that way. Now, you do it differently for numerics and so forth. But now when I run this query, select all from the source table where not exists, I just get the one record, the record that I truly do want in there. So that works fine. Now, another method that was pretty common that I found out there that people are doing is writing something like this: select all from the source table where it doesn't exist, where column 1 equals column 1, or column 1 is null and the destination column 1 is null, and then it goes through each one. I find this way just a little too wordy for me. It gives me the same results. So if I go ahead and I run this query, I gotta go down one more line on here. Whoops. Make my screen a little bigger. It'll make it easier. If I run this query, it'll give me the same result of just one record. But I find that I like the other format better with the ISNULL on it. So this is the format I tend to do. So where it bit me was I had a query that was trying to insert that, and it was writing way more records than I was anticipating. And what I didn't realize is that many of the columns had nulls in them. And then the minute I wrapped them like this, it took care of the problem and got me the data that I needed. So hopefully that'll save you some hassle in the future. If you do have suggestions for a future session, please feel free to email us at info@dashboardgear.com. Hopefully you found today's session helpful, or at least will save you some headache if you do run into that. And make sure and check for those nulls. Thank you, and we'll talk to you again next time.